Oh, it's a wizard time. Well, maybe not wizard time. I don't have my staff with me. So let's do game development instead. This is Saturday. I am David from Fertile Pixel, and for some reason I have something over there in the way of my blue light. This is my dark side. This is my light side. Wait, is that? There's the light. Yes. Anyway, yeah, let's get on with some development. I don't have my thing open, but I believe last time I was doing something. Let me just get my chat working properly as well by turning it off and on again. The high-tech solution to every technological problem. Turning it off and on again didn't work. I'll try turning it off and on again at a different speed. Or just again. Turn it off and on again. That'll often fix things. Alright, we're all fixed. Up and running. Also have some kind of notification. Yes, of course. I always forget that you start a stream and then Twitch gives you a phone notification for the mobile live dashboard. So is that thing working yet? Why is that not working? Oh, yes, of course. It's not working because I need to do this. There we are, yes. Let me also bring this over here so that I'm looking in the approximate correct location. Right, so yes. Oh, nice. So I've got my routine graph working, and I know I haven't got it yet able to delete. Let's see, we've got some polish here, sensors and branching. I need to actually add that sensor. Let's put branching in the routine, I've got that. Yes, I'm doing a graph. Got label and go to. Yeah, it looks like I got all that stuff. What am I talking about, by the way? Let me just fire this up in the background. And oh, that was quicker than I expected. So whatever here is the game. And I also do not have that very zoomed right now. Maybe I'll do this. Nice and big. Since I don't have any code I'm writing right now, I don't really need the animator. Anyway, here's the routine graph editor that I've been working on, which these lasers are just kind of spawning out in the middle of nowhere, so that's very, very busy. I'll need to replace that with an object pool sometime, but not right now. Anyway, so I'm going to close that. So here we go. Here's the basic game. We've got these factories. These are controlled by me. The others are kind of automated, so I can't control them. They're basically just making different random assortments of parts on the robots and sending them out. Mine I can control with these blueprints. Let me choose this factory just here and control it a bit. What am I up against right now? We've got these with a shield and a laser. All right, so we're trying to counter that. I'm just going to make slightly cheaper shield and laser guys, and I'll fix up the routine here using the old routine editor. I think I'm going to get them doing a couple of laser blasts, then shield and step forward and see how that goes. Did this one get it? No, it missed the step forward, so that one's just going to sit there defending the base. I need to stop these from getting in our way, so I'll just fix those up. So it got collided with by the other one. But here we go. So now we've got one. So we hit the shield, but then we hit the. Ooh, we're going to hit the factory there. I might try to add another laser blast. I might even give these guys a couple of lasers and just spam lasers. Lots of lasers. Get them moving forward first. But this is really clunky, this old routine editor, and it's really linear. So that's why I've been working on the new one, because this was always just a placeholder, just to get the concept of them. There we go, that's working. Two lasers. Oh, did get blown up. They don't have a shield, but that should be enough laser blasts to take out most of them. But these do kind of randomize every. I forget if it's a slightly random amount of time that they randomize. So they'll start spitting out different things. That gives you the concept. But yeah, this new routine editor graph, on the other hand, I could do a lot more with. So here we could, since we start, we could sense whether there's an enemy, which I haven't yet got wired up to anything, but none of this is wired up to anything. That's the goal today. So in a sense where there's an enemy, if there is, then we'll do this side. If not, we'll do the other side. So if there is an enemy, then we could just start shooting the laser. And let's say I had this blueprint with dual lasers, then we could just fire laser. If there's no enemy, then we could walk forward. So then immediately we've got this much more sophisticated routine. And anything that's not plugged in, if the routine reaches there, it'll just loop back around to the start. So this would basically just walk forward until an enemy is sensed, and then fire the laser, which is, probably going to be quite effective. But you can get a lot more sophisticated because we do have things like these obstacles. And so you might want them to, if an obstacle is directly in front of them, then turn. And then I guess we might need something related to what direction they're facing. Anyway, enough of that. Let me just jump back over here for a moment. And bring this back up. Yes, we have branching in the routine. We've got all that stuff, but I do need to clean these notes up a bit, perhaps. And I think I've done a lot of the data model, and that's just keeping track of what the data model is. This is what I was working on. There we go. So, yeah, I need to allow deleting nodes. So that routine that I built up, there's no way to actually remove something. You can just unplug something and then it just sit there inert. Not a big deal right now. And a few other quality of life things, including making it so you can't make a loop that would just sit there doing nothing. Not that it would really matter, but it's never going to actually be useful. So it's for that reason worth making it so that you can't do that, because it's a potential frustration point. Anyway, that's not what I'm doing now, though. I thought I'll put off that. I'll leave that like that. Because if I can actually get these routine graphs, at the moment it's just building up a single routine graph that's just the default, created by default at the top level. I've just had a cup of tea over here that I'm getting the tea bag out of. It's just sort of building up a default one that's not hooked up to anything. So instead, I'm going to hook it up to the same system that the other old linear routine graph at the bottom is hooked up to. So when you select a factory, it will show you the routine for that factory. And you can't change the routine in a bot after it's spawned. That's part of the core concept of the game. So you have to send them out into the world capable of carrying out whatever operations they need to. Which is why you need to program them in some way. But take a step forward, fire your weapon, take another step forward, fire your weapon. That's an okay basic thing, but definitely something that could be countered with something a bit more sophisticated. All right. Oh. I was going to say, I got a few of these left. But no, what I have left is an empty packet. So, probably for the best. I think I've had a bit too much sugar this afternoon. So, yeah, let me put I like to put a little indicator here if I can. That's not how you spell that. Yes, there we go, the little beard man icon. That's what I'm working on. And let me jump over here and see what it says up there. Node graph routine editor, yep. That is still what I'm working on. Sometime I will pause and write some stuff for OBS that will let me have a projects and tasks directly linked to a to-do list that I'm going through. Right. So basically, I'll probably just have a look at the old routine editor and how that is getting the routine. And then we've got a new type of routine, which is the node routines. So if I have a look down here, I possibly should be streaming in a different resolution. The issue I have is that I like to do my development on a large 4K monitor because it means I've got room to fit everything. I don't have to keep a bunch of things that are in the background in my head, which with ADHD is difficult to keep track of. Very easy to get overloaded and sort of just forget where things are and end up wasting a lot of brain just figuring out how to get back to. That was interesting. Little voice break there. Yeah, just figuring out how to get back to the thing, back to something, back to some editor or whatever. I have had some kind of cold or cough lately, so I'll try to be quick on the mute button, but if I'm not, then I both apologize and introduce you to coughing-based ASMR. The ASMR that nobody asked for. All right, so basically, we've got this has routine selection. I know that is related. So I might just open that. So every time something gets selected, it updates that and notifies the subscribers to it, I think. Or maybe it doesn't work that way. Maybe it's just hard-coded to activate a particular thing. Why would you... Hang on. What is this asking me about? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, here we are. Literally there it just says to do. Use subscriber/notify instead of this. I think I'm going to change it up a little bit here because I usually use the magnifier and have that here. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm wondering if I just go to more of a zoom thing of some sort and just have my two main windows. So I'm going to try that. Maybe I can duplicate this scene. And this is going to be just given a different name. All right, so far not the same, but all right, so I'm going to grab these and pop them to the sides, a bit like I usually do. But then I'm going to change things up a little. And so instead of having that, let's instead grab one of these. And let's see if I've got an existing one. Oh yeah, do we have a Unity editor? Looks like we do have. And let me just make that big. And then make this. No, I actually want that to be like basically matching that height. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let me just get that into the right place. It should be somewhere way down. All right, and okay. So I've got that there. I might have to move this a little. This being me. I'll just move myself to there for now. All right, let's try one more. Not sure what's going on with this Visual Studio window, so let's try and grab that. And all right. sort of working. And let me just check this. Okay. I wonder, can I make that better? All right. Now, let's see if I get that to the right height here. No, I got a lot of stuff there. That doesn't give me a lot of height. Unless I grab some more width for that. Well, let's try that, or similar. Okay, we'll pop this back here. Maybe get a bit bigger there. And I guess I could even put that like there. Something like that. Yeah, let's give that a try. Yeah, magnify would still be nice, but I'll try this. Now I just need a quick way to switch between these two. I guess this is quick enough. All right, so what do I want to do? Actually, I do want Visual Studio now, so I'm going to keep forgetting to switch between the two, though, aren't I? Oh, well, let's give it a try. So we've got this has routine selection just here that represents something that actually, yeah, I'm going to make this narrower. I'm going to do that. And then just grab that up a bit more. I'm going to make the font size a bit smaller. Let's go with that. Do you need all this actually? I can just move that up to there. I can do all like focus right on the code. Point is that should make the UI a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to see. Even though that writing's kind of over the top of some things, I think that'll be better. So now that I've got this a bit bigger, that's not zooming. Oh, just hold control. Fair enough. Where are we? There's my has routine selection. So basically, this is a selection of something that has a routine. So creatively named has routine selection. So this is the thing that controls that selection indicator that you see on the bots. I can get that running and show you that in a second. Yeah, I go 1 second. there. So when I select a bot, like Boop here, you see the selection around. Or when I select a factory, or this one here, oh, gotcha. The selection follows. Not super visible at that size. Maybe it's just because my preview a bit small there as well. Probably need to work on that. Yeah, so that thing's controlling that. Oops. Occidental slight resize. There we go. Yeah, so that's the selection indicator gets deactivated and then controlled. So this is a singleton to display the currently selected factory or robot and notify the routine editor of changes. So basically the way I've been doing that is by calling a callback on the routine editor at the appropriate time, which is just here when we call routine editor selected robot or factory null. Also on update, this is doing the click handling using arraycast to tell if we got something that is a selectable unit. That's either a factory or a robot. Hit routine haver, so something that has a routine, and this is the one that was hit. Sounds like kind of a stupid name to me, but it also says what it is. And yeah, I've got this to do to use a subscriber notify system instead. So instead of having to do this and then do what I'm about to do, if I remember my key shortcuts for this editor properly, I use a different editor in my day job. So anyway, this is going to be the node routine editor. So that's the new one. This one will be removed at some point, but I've got to disconnect it first. And it's just the thing here, it's the routine graph manager that I'm actually trying to get. Oh, lots of things here that are unused imports. Anyways, routine graph manager is the type of thing. So I'm just going to put one of those there, and I'll actually call it routine graph manager because why not? And it's a serialized field, so once I've saved this, I can just go and set it. Just drag it in. Anyway, let's just look at everywhere that routine editor is notified. Then I'll just do the exact same thing as in there, which will be an error right now because I don't have any of those. I haven't implemented selected robot or factory in routine graph manager. And same thing here. I'll just duplicate that line and replace that with that. And so now I've got three different things. I've got the old routine editor, the new routine editor, and I've got the blueprint editor. All just manually being updated. And I can actually pull that out into a different thing. But I actually like this way of doing it. I'm not going to have multiple routine editors at all. So this should be a singleton. It is a singleton. So let's just use it that way instead. And then we don't need a don't need a reference to it. So we don't actually need this thing. Just grab the name because we'll use that. So I'll just go to where the errors are. And we've actually got this selection updated. Selection. Is that the best way to do it? The thing is, I can just I'll do it that way because the other one's done it. But I'm thinking if I just make a property that I set, then I can have an update, like a set function on that anyway. So that would work. There we go. So I'm writing code that doesn't work here. But that's fine. And the other thing I can do here is actually well, I might implement this. Generate that method. And just have a quick look. Object, that's not what we want. Now look at this one. It's one of those. Okay, so now if I jump to there, change that to this, and instead of that, we'll just there we go, to do, implement that. I'll get that showing up in my logs. I like that better than throwing an exception, although throwing does like prove that it works, which can be a good thing. So what I just did there. Anyway, that should work. Now, given selection, I'm going to get rid of that to do because I don't really need to do that. All right. This moves that selection to follow something. I could just parent it to the thing, but for some reason I didn't do that. Anyway, what I'm going to do here is just extract a method here, and this will just be, I'll just call it like notify, or update and notify. So it's going to update and notify everything that's interested in that update. And here it is. You don't need a private keyword. Things are private by default anyway. And so we update selection. Oh, hey. Hi. Less, and I can't read the second part of that because I do not know that alphabet. And here, I believe this is exactly the same. Selection equals something, routine editor, select the robot factory equals that instance dot that. I don't think we need these safe navigation operators, but I'll add them back if I need them. But yeah, this should just be now a call to update and notify with null instead of repeating that. And then I love just getting these onto one line. So much more concise. And I don't know why there are these extra lines here. Cool. All right, so now we're going to be notified. And I will just refer a little bit to the other routine editor, which will be, well, this code here. So, and the blueprint editor actually as well. So what happens here when its selection is updated? Oh yeah, that's just not really interesting. Okay, so if it equals null, then that's basically clearing everything in there and sets its empty message so that it will show that you have to select something. Otherwise, we're setting it active. We're getting the blueprint. So in this case, it's the blueprint editor. So we get the blueprint from that, and it's pretty much going through setting everything. Yep, I think we can do something quite similar to that. So basically, I'll go to here now. And now I've got, there's my instance. So this stuff's just related to it being a singleton. And then here's all the other stuff. Got all the prefabs to make all the nodes and so on. And not sure why I have a line renderer there. I think that was just related to prototyping, trying to draw something. Let's comment that out because it looks unused. But now here is where I do want to be putting some state. I'm going to just collapse that. I've got a lot of commented out stuff in there, which is just kind of how to do things. I'm going to move these. So these are all just some more prefabs and things that are set. They really should be sort of belonging somewhere around there. These positions, we won't need those. But I think they're still technically being accessed at some point. So I'm just going to move all my state up to the top because I have just thrown some state in. With this T here, which is now unused. Which is just tracking time. Oh yeah, that was just to set a color gradient on the line. Something wasn't working with how I was setting the color gradient, and I tried setting it at a different time. I'm not even using update. Now, here we go. So I've got that selected routine. Now, I'm not sure if I'll keep that exactly as is, or if that'll change. But we've got one we saved from the debug buttons. Oh, did that just expand something I didn't want it to? Or no, I've jumped all the way over there. Please don't do that. Visual Studio. That was very rude. I was in the middle of dragging something. All right. So let's just see if there's anything else here that's not a function or method. This thing's getting pretty big. But yeah, that looks like everything. So I've pretty much got those two. But now I don't want, instead of that, well, I'm not sure if I'll replace that exactly, but just go to that new method here and just do like selection is equal to selection. And it's very helpfully changed that from a capital S, but I wanted a capital S. The reason being that now I can generate a variable, and we will make it a property. Okay. So now there's a property somewhere for this. Just jump to that. And I'll move that to a bit of a more sensible place. Just here. Okay, so this is set. Can we it's kind of annoying. It seems like I can have like an automatic property that just is automatically backed by a field that it adds. But as soon as I want to add a setter, it now like now I can't do that. But I guess it doesn't really matter because this is the only place where I'm actually going to be updating it, which means I can just do all of the things that I need to do. So yeah, it could be null or not. I think either way I want to like, yeah, it could be the same. So yeah, if it's not changed, previous selection equals selection. Oh, actually, I don't even need to do that. Yeah, so if selection is the same as selection, then return, because we don't want to. There's nothing to do. It already was that. Alrighty. Oh, cheap viewers, thank you. Let me just give you a little blockaroon there. I mean, they didn't even include the prices of the cheap viewers. How cheap could they be if they're not including the price? And also, why would I buy viewers? Where do they get all these viewers? Are they cloning them? But no, I would like to have viewers who actually want to see the content that I'm making. Or just like one really, really wealthy viewer who just drops a few $1 million onto me somehow, so that I can just do this full time. Otherwise, what good would be buying a presumably something that is what someone got like a bunch of servers that have a bunch of browser windows open that they just direct at different things, so I guess they'd have to do weird stuff with IP addresses and so on. What a waste of resources. What are we doing with our human society? That's all resources that could go into like making pies or something. All right. So I guess whether or not it's null, we want to clear everything, because at this point we know that we're changing routine, and then after we've cleared everything, then if selection equals null return, yeah, somehow it guessed what I would want to do. And then we want to like draw the new routine. Cool. So I think that's about where we're at, and we already know how to clear everything and so on. Because I've got buttons that do that right here. See, I've got my clear connections. That's clean connections. That's a thing for the lines that are drawn there. Not sure how necessary that is. Anyway, I've got my debug save and load routine. So the debug load routine is actually the same kind of thing as what I'm doing. So when it loads the routine, it sets that to a clone of the saved one. And that's so that I'm not editing the saved one directly, because then if I reload it, nothing would change. Anyway, we've got load routine. So there we go. It's load routine that we need. And we need a node routine to pass to that. And it doesn't have one, because I haven't actually made these things have one. But I will give them a, I'll just call that node routine. Oh, I was just doing slowly. There, so that's going to be an error. But let me add that. I don't want to generate a new method that works with some other type. This is the method I want. Generate a property node routine. Now, what else have we got on there? Actually, let's just have a look. What does the routine look like? So this is a what? Tell me. All right, so robot actions array by selectable. So it is a property. So yep, we'll generate a property and make it the same. I'll presume that past me knew what they were doing. Sure, like that. Okay. So now some things are going to be a little broken, because this is an interface that both the factory and the robot implement. And they've got this node routine here. And there's the other routine. So I'll just grab that up next to that, like so. There we go. And that means that probably the types that inherit from that are going to be broken. So let's just see what we could do to find the implementations. So we've got factory and robot implementing it. So I'll just bring that down here. Too low. You can't even see it, can you? All right, so let's start with factory here. Now we've got this iSelectable unit, which is bringing up an error because we don't have the right thing. So I'm just going to go find the routine property on there. There we go. I'm just going to duplicate this and call this node routine. And okay, it's going to need a thing called node routine. I'm going to remove the old routine at some point, but I'm trying to not break it in the meantime. And that node routine is meant to be a what? Node routine, okay. Fair enough. Sounds reasonable. Okay, and that's node routine. So now we're going to need to implement, add that on there. So let me just find where I've got routine defined right here. So that one was the serialized field, so I could edit it. This one, not so much. Oh. I'll figure that out later if it can be. Anyway, I'll grab the same thing. So that's factory. Let's jump to robot. Again, selectable unit. Let's go its routine there. Here's the property. Oops, too many new lines. And pretty much just grab that. Like so. And there we go. Which means I think I might have a slight problem here, which is that having a serializable routine of the old kind meant that I could go in to my factories, set them up with the default routines. So here are my friendly factories. There's a factory here. And here's its routine. And you can't see that at all. Here we go. So yeah, friendly factory. Here's the routine. It's got turn right, walk forward, turn left, walk forward. The node routines are a bit more complicated. Not something I could really edit in here, but I guess if I can save them somewhere and then allow them to be selected, that would be the way to be able to do that. But I think I'll just need to deal with the fact that that I might just need to start with a default empty routine or a basic routine that just says walking forward as the only thing in there. And that's fine. Don't want to click that. All right, so now they both have that in there. So it's something that can be set. And I also need to just check. Okay, it is a class. That's good. If it was a struct, then I would need to do more stuff to make sure it updates. But the fact that it's a class means that it should update fine. This doesn't have to be like that. They could just be like anonymous things. Oh, unless I'm trying to avoid the getters and setters sometimes. All right. So now I believe the has routine selection. It's going to be updating the routine graph manager with the selection. Routine graph manager is going to be able to respond to that selection. So it'll be able to load a routine. Oh, hang on 1 second. I think when I load routine, I'm clearing everything, right? Load routine, give it the routine. It sets the selected routine to that routine. All right, well, the selected routine is what it works on the whole time now, so that's fine for the moment. I could just work directly on selection, but I think that's fine. Yeah. So yeah, we'll clear the nodes, clear the buttons, and draw the routine, and have done any buttons. So I think I need to do these two things for just for when it's null, really, because the other case it's going to be handled inside load routine. So if it's null, just do that. And I can probably just do it the other way around. If selection is not equal to null, then load that routine. I'm going to put it on 2 lines to return anyway. Unless anything else. Yeah, that works. And then I don't need the return on there. Yeah. All right. Don't mind me just messing about with my. Oh gosh, I've forgotten to show this again. Yeah, that's the issue with having something where I have to actually remember to change something. Yeah, I think working on a smaller monitor and just tapping between the different things, even though it's not as quite as good for me, I think it would give a better experience for the stream. So that would be good. So that might actually work now. Let's give it a go. So I'll pop over into Unity. Right, I've got another idea about how to set this up potentially. So I'll give that a go sometime soon. Could basically just do something that I'll try soon. All right, so I've got my thing here. It's starting with a default selected routine that's like the default one. That's nothing. We'll just have this just block forever. I should be able to save that routine. I've just got a debug button that saves the routine here. And how big can I make that? Can I get this, like the animation windows down there, and then get that nice and big. And that's pretty good. And I can get that even bigger when I get rid of this old routine editor here that's not even used. Anyway, I've got that. I should be able to load it. That's cool. Now if I select something, different factory doesn't actually have a routine to start with. So that's kind of a problem. It's got an empty node routine, not doing anything. And I'm also getting a null reference exception here. So let me just stop that and see where that is coming up on the console. Okay. Now, that's here, but let me just try. Yeah, I need to adjust this size of this because I changed it. But instead of that, get rid of that and that. Show that. Now I've just got to try something here. If I were to say move that across, would that affect this? No, it wouldn't. Cool. But what if I was to do a bit of cropping on this? Actually, no, I don't need to exactly do cropping because I could just use sizing. What am I holding here? This is the wrong element. You can't see what I'm doing here, and that is expected. There. All right. Actually, why don't I move this over to here? Do a little bit of inception. Make this bigger. And can I? Okay, big display. Problem is now I can't zoom out. What if I just make this much wider than it is? So, okay. Now, what I want is for that. Well, that's not going to be very useful. I don't have this where I want it. Put that there. I'll move that over. Shift that over here. There we go. So I can see the edge of that window there. And want that to touch the edge. Like so. And then the other side. Get that touching the edge. And now have I made the other one not touch the edge? There's probably a better way. Let me move that down. I'll get the top of that touching the top. There. Every time you make it bigger, it throws everything out a little. That's pretty close, but not quite. And slightly up. There. I think that's as good as we're going to get. Well, at least within the bounds of my, what do you call it? The thing? Patience. All right. And then I think we just need to go a little, so that we're showing everything there. And I can just tab to the right thing. Unity. Get that to here. And there we go. All right. Now I can see what you can see. And now I just need to remember what I was doing. And that way I'll actually remember to switch the things over because I can't see this unless I switch it over. Okay, so I had a problem there, which was basically these factories are starting out without a node routine. And so they really do need one, because even if you haven't selected one, they should be running a routine. So I'll basically go to the factories, We've got this node routine here, and then in start, oh, interesting. So for now, different factories have different no, enemy factories work a bit differently. I forget what I've got going on to make those enemy factories routines update. A lot of stuff going on with the robot builds. Cool. I've got set default blueprint parts. But what do I have that's the timer? Yeah, I'm on factory. I wonder if I'm doing anything like in spawn robot or in reset build progress. Nope. Do these things have an is enemy? Yes, they do. So it might be related to that. Oh, I want that one. So Alt F12 or Shift F12 for references. Shift F12. Okay, so we've got our references down here. And there. It's just, okay, so it looks like whatever I've got that's updating those enemy robot factories is not here we go, enemy part randomizer script. But that's not updating. That's not updating the routine, I think. It's just updating the blueprint. So, yeah, I've got the different parts that they could randomly have. Because I think they just have a set routine that they've all got, where they just try and do stuff and they'll just malfunction if they don't have the right thing for that. And I want to do the same thing. But I think for now, I'll just, I do have a way to make a routine in here. So I think on start, I'll just give them a routine for now. Do set default node routine, and I'll use node routine for now to distinguish it from the other kind of routine. And then when I remove the other kind of routine, then I can rename node routine back to routine. Keep everything nice. Okay, so I've got this thing, which I'll just add that method. Just there will do fine. I'm going to pin factory. I'm going to unpin some other things that I'm not using right now. And then I'll go to this routine graph manager, and I've actually got in start, so nothing to do with that. Just in start where I was playing around with this. Can I have that auto hide? There. That's better. Yeah, so in start, I basically got a routine. Routines, when they're created, automatically have a start node. That's kind of the smallest valid routine. It doesn't do anything, but it's at least has a starting point. That's visually clearing the nodes, but I want that in here at least. And I don't know if I want to get the start node. Let's see what else, because it does have some stuff. Well, that's all commented out now, but that was creating the nodes. And then we, in the routine, then we would load the routine. So I'll just grab that whole thing, pop that in here, and uncomment it, and then go from there. I'll just go through this and fix it up. Oh. So let's get rid of that. Now I had some positions, which was a set of vector 3s that I basically had, well, still have in here. No, in where are we? Routine graph editor. Yeah, I've got some positions there. So things like -2, 1, 2, 1, 0, 1, 0, -1, 0, -2, and so on. So 0, 0 is the center. So it looks like the range of, about, I think these are all in world units. So actually each factory is like 1 unit big. So these squares are 1 unit. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units across. So we probably would go with something like -4, 0 for the initial start. And it'd be nice if these were 1 unit wide, but they are about 1.5 at least. So I think probably 2 units distance between. So yeah, that looks good. Sounds good. And vertically, they're about 1 unit. So if we do 1.5 units, so I'm not going to have this loop here anymore. I'll just literally have some of this code that would be in here coded. Start at x -4 space out by 2 units. Start at y0 space out by 1.5 units. There we go. So yeah, I'll do some kind of basic routine in here. So I guess we'll grab that start node and give it a position. Give it a vector 3. That's vector 3, isn't it? That is a vector 2 that it wants. So we'll do a vector 2. You can assign a vector 3 onto a vector 2, I think, because it just is valid as a vector 2 because it has the x and y. But anyway, we'll do -4 and oh, I see that pos container.position plus position. So we actually have to do it relative to the container position, I think. No, what's pos then? What's pos used for? Okay, that's used for where to instantiate it. That's fine. We don't care about that because this is not about instantiating anything. So yeah, we don't need that. And yes, we do just want the position. And so this is the start node. And we want that routine. And yes, it's called new routine. So every time we update something, any of these nodes, they are structs. So they copy by value. So when we set the position on it, we actually need to save it back into there to get the to get it updated in there. Yep, so we've done that. I haven't actually decided what routine to do. So we'll have a start, of course, and then walk forward. What's the routine I've got already for those guys? That default routine in the enemy factories. Just expand that. Okay, so we've got shoot laser, block, walk forward. Okay, I can do that. Shoot laser, block, and walk forward. That'll do for now. Just keep it to the same, which means we won't actually need to change vertically, but I'll probably change that at some point to something that makes use of sensors. All right, so I think we want a shoot laser, which is like that. Yep. You'll need to sort out the position. Do I already have a walk forward? There's a walk forward. And there's the block right there. Actually, I'll grab both of those and just remove the stuff in the middle. All right, that's everything I need. Just going to remove this. Just get rid of it to there and confirm. Yep. That's everything I need to grab. And I'll just replace all these position values with other ones. And so we'll have these just each go across by 2. So we'll go -4 to -2. This one will be at 0. This one will be also at 0. Oh, now that's not everything we need to do because that's not wired up. So we've got all these nodes. Now we need to connect them. Now I'm sure I have an example of that in here. Oh, I can make this right here. You can't see what I'm moving right there. I just realized that I could. Yes, so there's the start. Yes, excellent. So we've got some connections happening here. I'll just grab all of these examples. No, this is drawing the connections. That's not what I want to do. Let's see, that'll be when we are when we drop a draggable icon onto a thing, input drop target, there it is. So yeah, this is when something's been dropped on there. So it's a dropped object, and we try and get that output connector, which is the dropped connector. And then somewhere in here, we're going to update a routine. Oh, got a breakpoint there for some reason. Let's just turn that off for now. That was some debugging I was doing before. Okay, so we've got the routine node. We've got the ID and so on. All right, so we've got different connectors on these, but I think it's going to be just output one in all cases for these because they're not types of things that have multiple outputs. We just need to set the output routine node to the input ID. And that should be all we need to do. Okay, cool. So we can do that. And that should be pretty easy. So I'll just jump into my factory here. All right, so 0 is the unique ID of that first node. Now we can add this node here, and that's going to have its own unique ID, which should be 1, but let's not assume. As this is going to be giving me back the unique ID, so it returns an int, which is the unique ID. So now we've got that ID, so now to plug that into there, now that we've created that, just plug start into it. Actually, I'll just grab all these IDs. Do it all at the bottom. All right, so I've got all those IDs, and then that's the start ID. Could do that. And that will just make this a bit clearer down here. Yeah. So I'll grab that. Oh, actually, no, I don't think I need to even mess about with all this. I was going to connect them all afterwards, but really, hold on, just 1 second. I need to get my brain straightened out here. The output needs the ID of the input. So start needs the ID of the laser. So yes, I've got start node. Actually, I'll grab all the nodes themselves here. It'll be better if I do it just separately. Laser node equals routine.get node. Shoot laser ID. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing for block. So say block. And same thing for walk forward. All right, so now I've got all of those nodes. So now we need to set starts output 1 to the shoot laser ID. Start node output 1 equals shoot laser ID. And then we also need to do this. Just update that, which is updating it again. And I don't think we actually need that stuff beforehand, so I'll just bring all of this right down here. There might be an order I can put it in where I don't have to do so much. So I should be able to just put that there and not have to do that. So that's good. Okay, next we need that shoot laser node. We need to set its output to be the block. So I'm going to reverse these. So if I just put this after that and this before this, then the walk forward doesn't need to connect to anything, so it'll just automatically go back to start. So that means that block can now just start out with its output 1 being walk forward ID. So go from block to walk forward, and we go from shoot laser to block. And then we go from start to shoot laser. And so now we don't actually need to call update node because we're getting those set when we're creating them, which means we don't actually need to get the most of the nodes. And so now we should have a starting routine in those factories instead of, when I select them, having a lack of any routine, which leads to it being bad. Meaning a null pointer exception. So that should get the factories having a routine. And what did I just alt tab to? Did I not alt tab to Unity? Oh, it's busy. Too busy reloading domain. There, I minimize that, then wow, it's been at it for a while. What are you doing, Unity? I'm going for time. Could use a quick bathroom break. But I'm also, there we go. But I'm also not too far from finish time, so it depends how how distracting that's going to be. So let me select that. Okay, we got a null reference exception again. I think I know why. Because although I created all of that stuff, I haven't actually done anything with it. So this is a new routine. And what I really need to do here is, how am I storing that routine? Yes, I know I just implemented that a moment ago. But this node routine called node routine. And this property, I'll set it through the property. There we go. So create it, then set it. Doesn't really matter. I might just set that down here. Oh, a Mega Killer, hello. You missed the notification. That's fine. I always miss notifications because I get way too many of them. So I just tune them all out. I think I'm fine to just do this. So Omega Killer, what I've been working on is getting the node routine working. And wait, no, the node routine's all working. I've been getting it hooked up to the factories and robots. So far, I've basically keyboard situation. I haven't. I think the internals of my keyboard are dried out. These are them. So I think that should be fine, but I haven't actually got around to washing the outside of the keyboard. So I'll probably do that tomorrow, and then because there is still a bit of tea on there. Give some of the keys a bit of a wash and so on. And then I'll try putting it back together and see if I've corroded it and it's broken or not. I think I could just inline this. Could I? What happens if I do an inline temporary variable on this? Does it just replace it with the other one? No, that's not what I want to do. I just want to replace all of these things with this thing. It'd be nice if I could pass in some things to the constructor just for the specifics of the start node so that I don't have to look it up and so on. Anyway, that's just quality of life for later. Now I should be able to inline that, I think, and it'll just be in one place. Yep. Wait, how's that? It's just weird that it can tell from the context that that's that. But anyway. Yeah, so hopefully keyboard's good. I'm also kind of reluctant to try it because I think I could wash it out better. And so maybe just get a bunch more deionized water and sort of drizzle that through there, followed by a bunch of isopropyl. I kind of would like to desolder the whole thing and give it a good proper clean, and I can see if there's anything stuck in there that I need to scrub off. But it's a very big time investment, and I could sort of just buy an okay mechanical keyboard for, I guess, the equivalent amount of time, except for the fact that I'm on salary, so I don't really have the ability to trade spare time for spare money. So yeah, it's kind of a weird one. Also, I think even if I could just pay a bit of money and get exact replacement of the keyboard, I think it's a bit like this could be my autistic tendencies speaking here, but I grow attached to things, inanimate objects, including things like cutlery and so on, and so I'd be reluctant to replace it, even if it was completely practical to do so, because that's my keyboard. I've had it for years. So yeah, a bit funny there. Okay, so that should give us a routine now that's actually set properly. So if I select a factory, There we go. I've still got a null reference of some sort happening. 103 to 108. Let's have a look at those for a second. Yes, basically, well, not exactly. This is a struct. So this guy's a struct. And so I've got all these, I've just got public fields in there. So when you're dealing with a struct, at least, and possibly with, I don't know what the case is with classes, but basically you can just give it a block that has all of the, whatever fields you want to set, and it will set those. So that's what's going on there. I won't dig into it right now because I'm kind of trying to steamroll ahead and get the node routines hooked up and working. But yeah, that's what's there. That's yeah, one of the things. So I've got a null reference exception here, and that's on has routine selection, which I was working on a bit earlier. I'll just open it up to there. Oh, okay. Actually, got rid of one of those, and that apparently. Oh, yeah, that's right. The reason why is because the instance doesn't actually register until the first time you open the Blueprint editor, because the Blueprint editor starts out not enabled, which means its scripts don't run. And I think it'll be the same for the routine graph manager as well. Which, if it is, I'll have to do the same thing I did with the Blueprint editor, which is when it starts up, it needs to look up the current selection. And oh yeah, there were two places that were doing that, but I moved them both into here, so that should be fine right there. Okay, back to here. So it looks like I sort of got this working. I got it to shoot laser, block and walk forward, but I haven't got walk forward in the right position. That's the only thing I need to change. And which means I need to go to the factory. There you are. I'm going to pin robot as well because I need to update that. There's a few things I need to update, but okay, so yeah, we got. So we got the start node at -4, then this one at -2, then at 0, and that should be, well, it's -0, but same thing. That should be +2, and let's go with +0 just to save a character. And while I'm here, one of the things that happens is we spawn a robot. So there it is, spawn robot. And we use a robot spawner. To spawn the robot, we give it the blueprint, the routine, and I'm going to add the node routine in here. And then see if I can just update that. Add a parameter, yes. There we go, so now we're doing that. And now I'll jump to spawn robot and see where else it is called, if anywhere. It is called in exactly one place, so that's good. We haven't broken anything else. So now we've got this node routine here as well as this regular routine. So I'm just going to set that node routine in the bot. Bot.node routine is equal to node routine. There. So now the bot's got a node routine. It's not going to use it, but it'll spawn with it. And so when I select it, I should be able to see it. So let's go see if that's working. Let's try and alt tab the right place. All right. also, I don't have a out of editor way to open that graph editor at the moment, but that's fine. Okay, so yep, that looks good. The factories all have that routine, and I'll actually grab the second one and I'll just edit it somehow. I'll add a another walk forward, and we'll do that first, just so that I've got something different, so you can see those are different. And now if I select a robot, I'll update this blueprint so they might survive a bit longer. Let's do a bunch of lasers and update the old routine that they're still actually following to do something like that. All right, so I'm going to spawn. Don't know, but now I'll open the routine graph editor. Oh, I've got to wait for a robot to spawn here. Then I can select it and open that. And I'll just select this to make sure it's got the old. Did they just walk out and get immediately exploded? They're not even getting a shot off, are they? Oh, maybe one of them will. Oh, that's interesting. So this is, obviously they're not, if the selection happens when it's minimized, there's something going wrong, so I'll have to deal with that. When it becomes enabled. I think I'll refer to something from the blueprint editor. Okay, but now I can open this. It's getting destroyed too quickly. Oh, I know. I'll just do it with this one. I'll just give them a don't do anything routine. Just they can turn left repeatedly. There we go. So that's good. So now, what's the routine I have on there? I'll just change the selection. Okay, so it's the one where they're in those positions. So now if I select, okay. 3 of them, if one of them walks into a pile of 2 that are already half damaged from a collision, then that breaks stuff. But yeah, that looks like the right one, even though it's not showing the connections properly when you select it with the editor minimized. But that's good. That means it's all being set properly. So that's that slice of the delicious cake of getting that working. So I've actually linked that to the factories. I'm spawning robots with the graph routine. And so now I'm up to changing the robots to follow that graph. I think I need to implement the hit points threshold decision first, because that can work with that. Well, no, I think let's just go with the linear one working. So yeah, using only the what are they called? Supported actions, basically. Cool. So that means, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Jeez, excuse me. Should have muted. My apologies. So that's what I'll do now. Now, it is basically about my finishing up time for this stream, but I'm going to take a quick bathroom break and what will I do? Put on a little tiny bit of music, perhaps. and be back in a couple of minutes because it would be really cool to get the robots actually following the routines. You know, when the routines don't have anything that's not supported in them, at least. So I think I can do that. Well, that's. Oh, here we go. This is where the music is from that you can hear. You can't hear it though because I didn't do that. So I think I might have even like a. Do I have like a be right back? I do. Oh wait, that's actually got hold music on it. That's got to sound bad. Let me just get rid of that. There. All right. Now you should just have one music. I don't even know what that hold music is. I think it was triggering some DMCA thing too. Anyway, I'll be a couple of minutes. And there I am, back. So, let me just click back on somewhere. Yeah, there we are. All right, so, now we need to make the robot do stuff. So what is happening at the moment to follow the regular routine? That's basically what we want to find here. And I think advanced routine is going to be part of that. Now we've got an action index, and that's not going to work anymore for this thing. So you can see it's starting at -1, and that's because the routine is an array. And so we grab routine action index. That's what you get from advanced routine. And it's probably having an update if it's doing an action, a return. Otherwise, it'll grab the next one and start that action. So instead of that, we're going to want some other stuff. So this will be the unique ID of the next action. That should run. So basically same as above, but from the node ID. So that is going to be a... Now why is this public? Are we using that? Interesting. It is redundant, probably because if you delete that, it'll still be exposed. So let's call this action ID. And let's say it equals 0 because that is the action it will be on, the start node. Now, is this the next action that should run? No, we don't know the next action that should run at this point, or at any point. We only know the current action, because if the action is happening, it's not even an action, really, it's the node ID. That's the routine node ID. So we start on the start node, 0. And when we're on a node, we don't actually know by the time we've finished doing the action for that action node, if it's an action node, if the next node is going to be a decision node, then it could go one way or the other, or a third way. Could go one of multiple ways. So this is basically current action that like is running or should run. When the and the reason why I had the next one, not the current one, was just for convenience of making it a bit simpler to code by being able to just plus it. And that isn't the next one, is it? It's the current one. So it'll get the index, it'll return. Yeah, anyway, I think that was wrong anyway, the description there. It doesn't matter, that's going to be deleted after I get this all working. All right. I did unmute, didn't I? Yes, and I went back to this routine. Routine? No, back to this screen. Unique ID of current action is running or should run when the routine starts. When the bot activates. Ooh, if you had like an EMP that like reset the bot, then they like go back to the first action in their routine. Anyway, so now we've got that ID, and we've got robot actions here, and that routine is made up of actions. So interesting. So at this point here, we actually need to get the next action in the routine, but it's going to be based on inputs. So I'll probably end up pulling out a method here, but basically we need to follow the node routine from the current node via any decision via the correct outputs of any decision nodes, looping back to start, so not connected outputs. I think they might have 0 on them anyway, like I might not need to do anything special there. Might not need special code. Yeah, until it finds an action. That's basically the idea. So I haven't done any traversing of the graph before, so that's interesting. I think what I need to do is look at our node routine. We need to probably get the node that has the ID of routine node ID. And that is going to be the current node. Copy next. It'll probably be, well, it'll either be the start node if we're just starting up, or it'll be the action node if we've just done an action and then finished it. But the type of action that it is shouldn't particularly matter. We're probably going to have some kind of a loop here. But let's just find what the next node is going to be. So it'll depend on the node type actually, which ID is relevant. I could just make these all follow output 1 because that's all we've got at the moment. I'll put a to-do for the different outputs for decision nodes. This will be inside the loop. So I'll just bring a to-do start loop here. And also just give that a explicit type just for fun. So I want to go current node dot output 1. That's the ID. So next node is going to be node routine dot get node of this. So yeah, we start on that one. We'll grab the next one, and then next node type routine node type dot action. So this is for a condition. If it is an action node, then now we're going to do this action now. Good, we found the action. Do that. So what'll happen here if we found it? I guess we break out of our loop if we were in one, and next node dot action. That's the action. So that's probably what I'll return from my method that I do, that I design. Let's extract that now. Extract a method. We'll call it advance to next node, action node. I forgot to mute again. Apologies again for the coughing. Yeah, that should be robot actions. Like so. And not all code paths return a value. Yes, true. There's no reason for this to be split up other than that it makes it a bit more readable. I think it's only that first bit of comment there that's still relevant. Just grab that. Oh yeah, that's what that is. I'm going to delete that because it's just confusing. Okay, cool. So that's the old one. I'll just leave that there, commented out. And now the issue here is we're not necessarily getting to an action node. I know that we are for the routine that's there, but let me just see if I can quickly get that sorted. Do I make an infinite loop here? And just we'll either completely lock up if the routine has no actions or not. Well, I think what we want to do here is terminate the loop. If we get back to, oh no, I was going to say if we get back to the action we started on, the node we started on, then end the loop because we've obviously looped all the way around, and so then we'll be looping infinitely. And I guess the other thing is if we've got, we want to avoid actually having an infinite loop. So what's my termination condition? I'm going to basically say terminate the loop if it hits the same node twice. So, if it hits a node it has already hit. And so I could just have like a list of ints, which is, yes, let's call it ints and have it be a new list of ints. And instead of calling it ints, we'll call it visited nodes, like so. Now, it is okay to go back to the current node, because if we've got a routine that just has an action, single action in it, and then it just loops back to start and back to that action, that's totally fine. No problem at all with that. So we're not going to count that as visited. It'll just count as an action This is for the case where current node was an action. And I think what we're going to do is, if we hit a node that we've already hit, then we want to malfunction. Yeah, if we hit the same node twice before finding an action, because the conditions, this is happening within a single frame, the conditions that are leading to it having looped will not change. So that's basically where we're going to be. And also, malfunction if, well, I'm just thinking if there are no action nodes, but that'll be the same thing. It'll just get to the node that it's, so if it was just the start node, it'll just loop around to itself. So that will immediately hit that. So cool. Now we don't want current node, we want next node. Just move that definition, split that up to here. I probably could have just renamed that, but anyway. There, so now we've got this thing called next node, which is what we're looping with. So this will be the previous loop's next node. Okay, so we'll find the node that is hooked onto output 1, and then with the to-do there, if it's a decision node, we should be doing the correct thing. For example, if it's a threshold decision that's for hit points, then we should look at the hit points, which I will actually implement really soon because that should be pretty easy. Doesn't need a new sensor to be added. Now, if it's an action type, then we can just return that action. And otherwise, let's deal with that hitting the same node twice. So visitor nodes, add, going to grab our next node unique ID. And we can actually do that check here. Visitor nodes dot contains next node dot unique ID, and that's our error condition. So we have an infinite loop. In the routine, just an infinite loop with no actions in it. Oh, we have hit, no action, just malfunction. So you could temporarily have a infinite loop condition. So if there was a decision node and one branch of it just looped back around to the decision node and the other branch went to an action, then it would depend on the current state, whether it would just malfunction or not. So it can just sit there malfunctioning, happily malfunctioning until it hits something, until it hits a different condition that'll lead to an action. So it might just malfunction until an enemy appears and then start shooting. That would be fine. So we are okay just to sit there malfunctioning on one of these. So I really just have the decision node part to do, which is all good. And so now that's actually happening. And I could move this just after that, but we don't actually need to push that on there in this case. So that's our main exit condition we expect. Here's our other one. But yeah, so I guess we are basically going to just consume all of the nodes. So I guess it's fine having just a while true. There's no way that could potentially go forever, is there? Get a node. And and the other thing is, if we had an output that wasn't valid, like we shouldn't, it should just be 0. But if that output wasn't valid and we didn't get a node back, then what does that do when it doesn't have the node? It just tries to do a find. So basically, if we don't have any, next node is null, then basically we want next node to equal the start node. Which is 0. So treat any invalid connection as being connected to start node. That's what's the deal there? What's your problem here? Really? Is that because routine node is a struct? Are you? Oh. So what actually happens with find if there's nothing there? I don't know. Well, I'm just going to comment that out for now because that's more of a maybe problem. Nope. Basically, that means I might actually get back like an empty node if it doesn't find it, which is not great. Okay. So yeah, we've followed the outputs. That should work. Why am I not running it? Let's run that and see. Let me just quickly double check here. Yeah, I've just replaced that with that. So it should be hopefully doing what it's supposed to. Do you need to compile anything or whatever? Oh, so many null reference exceptions in Robot. Reverse next action node. Why was it calling that? Oh, right. I know why it's doing that. That's boop, isn't it? This is boop here. So if I clear that, it'll keep happening because boop is doing that. These guys are just sitting here malfunctioning because of reasons. Oh, because have they just got the start mode? Where's my here? Need to open that. So they should be having some actions to do here. Oh wait, one of them is walk forward. So they should be able to walk forward, but it looks like they're not. Like, even if I give them a laser and a shield and something else. Oh, it is firing a laser. But it is just firing a laser. So that's a bit weird. I'm going to go ahead and update some of these friendly factories. Well, let's just go with this first one. And they've got the standard legs on there. Let me just go here and give them a laser, give them a shield, and give them budget legs because that's cheaper, so they'll spawn faster. And then poor Boop. I kind of don't want to remove Boop, but it's also a bit broken right now. So let's just find Boop here. And sorry, Boop, we'll just disable you for now, just because it's a lot of errors. Okay, but we'll get you back. Okay, that's fine. That's just because of that. Okay, so that looks right. Probably should add a button for the routine graph editor. Okay, so that looks right. And we've got this one spawning, and it looks like it's just doing laser over and over. So what does that look like? It's just doing the first thing. Okay, that's probably just my logic being bad. Let's have a look. How bad is the logic? Okay, so we start on 0. Oh. Yes. Yes, I think I know the problem here. Routine node ID equals 0. And I'm not changing that anywhere. And actually, I could be changing it pretty much every single time anything changes. So whenever I get this next node, that's the node that I've gone to. And yeah, so at this point, it's going to be next node.uniqueID. So we sort of don't really need to update it every time we go through this loop. We really need to just update it either like here or here. But that is technically what's happening. It's looking at each node. And hello, PsyCharacter. Wait, is it PsyCharacter? Sort of. PsyCharacter. Well, hello. I purposely stayed a little bit late on this stream to just try and get this basically working because that's what I've been working towards. Getting the new routine editor to properly drive these bots. So this could be the moment of truth. Is it going to just shoot a laser when it spawns, this one at the top, or is it going to do something else? Okay, fired a laser, blocked, walked forward. Hey, it seems to be working. Fantastic. Oh, best viewers, hey? That can't be true. The best viewers are right here. So I'm going to block you for that. There we go. It probably doesn't matter if it's too meta to talk about the spam offering viewers. Now, I need to add a button for this and fix up that thing where the connections aren't showing properly. But also the I'm not displaying that on the graph, and it would be really cool to. And I should be able to, given that unique ID that it's got. What am I building? Well, basically, there's this game here where the factories make robots, and the robots go and do their thing. And previously, their thing has been just a very linear routine. So literally just a set of instructions that they follow. And they're all malfunctioning, which is what all that red flashing is happening, because I'm in the process of just swapping out this old linear thing, which was always just a placeholder, with this proper routine editor, which I'm just going to select some things, which ultimately is meant to work with having stuff like detecting an enemy, and then if the enemy is detected, then we shoot the laser at them, or block maybe. And if there's no enemy, then we walk forward and look back to the start. But then how do we decide whether to fire the laser or block? Maybe we use a hit point decision. So we'll basically go, if we see an enemy, then depending on the hit points, if they're like above, I'm trying to get that on 50, that's a bit clunky. 51, 49. Anyway, if they're greater than 49, fire the laser. If they're less than 49, block. And if they're equal to 49, we'll also block. So if they're less than 50. Anything that's not plugged in just loops back around to the start. So this would just keep sensing over and over again. But you could do whatever you want. So if you just wanted to walk forward a few times, go for it. Add some more. Or maybe we always want to fire the laser in volleys of 2 shots. Stuff like that. So that's the basic idea. But this doesn't quite work yet because these decision nodes aren't working. But I have just got the it'll just follow output 1, by the way. So this would just shoot lasers only if it had a laser. So let's give this one a blueprint that has a laser. And I'll give it cheap legs so that it'll spawn faster. So it should fire the laser. And only fire the laser just based on how it's implemented right now because, Where am I from? Not here. I'm from further south than here. But I live in Australia at the moment. What's further south than that? More of Australia. And then eventually the South Pole. Probably a few whales in between here and there. So that's cool that that's working now. I can do the hit points decision. I can implement that because I have access to the hit points already. I don't have to build a sensor or anything. So that's this is where I need to do that. And so we've already got the next node. So India, hey? Yes, I've heard of it. You just go kind of like that way for a while. Over there. And then you get there. Cool, what part though? The south, middle, the north? If you don't mind my asking. And what kind of food do you have there? Okay, I'm going to do this. I need to know, I'm just wondering, is this correct? So basically, when I start, this node is going to be an action node, but I don't think I should just care about that. I'm just going to go type, node type. Okay, so we're just looking for the threshold decision. Actually, I'll just do that as a switch. Oh, I'm going to do a new line. Okay, so we're looking at hit points. We're going to implement it, and then the default will be just not doing anything right now. All right, so basically we're going to have input number is going to start out at 1, and then we'll decide. What's on my mind today? Well, gosh, mostly, well, I did a bunch of chores today because I just want my environment to be a bit cleaner, and everyone else was out of the house, so a good chance to kind of get stuff cleaned up when nobody else is around. But I did want to do a bunch of sketching, but I didn't get around to that because I had some had a bit of an embroidery project that I need to get finished by the end of the weekend. So I was embroidering some flowers. Yeah. And as for tonight, my main thing is I'd better make sure I get to bed before it gets too late. So I better not get too carried away with this. But anyway, let's see. My output number is 1, and it's just going to be per thing here, basically. So so if it's a threshold decision, then I can just get the just get that out of there. Threshold value is what I want. And then I do play Minecraft. Don't get much time to sit down and play games these days. So I have played it for a bunch of time. And mostly just survival and building random stuff. I've never actually built a portal, traveled to the end, and so on. I mainly just like building, like sort of surviving, making farms, building like houses in trees or at the top of cliffs or various things. So I definitely treat it a lot like Lego. There's where my lighting's having problems. I've got something maximized over there that's getting in the way of some light. I still have tea here. It's cold, but it's still tea. I really should get some kind of teacup warmer. Oh no, I've run out of tea. Now, okay, so hit points. I believe as a robot, we should have some current hit points. Is that right? Oh, actually, I don't think we have our hit points directly on the robot, do we? That could be a problem. Let me have a quick look. Let me have a quick look by alt-tabbing to the correct thing. There we go. All right, so let's take a look at a robot. Let's have a look at Boop. Boop is a robot. So we've got our robot script, but it's actually on our hittable object script that we have the hit points. So I'm going to have to look up a hittable object in there. Not very efficient, but we'll sort that out. I'll optimize it later. And what does namaste mean exactly? I hear it generally associated with yoga classes. Tea or coffee? Yes, I drink more tea than coffee, but I do drink coffee from time to time, or sometimes regularly. And hello. And I don't always respond immediately to chats, but I do have it set up. I should actually do this so that I at least hear a noise these days. So I don't usually take sometimes half an hour to reply to things, to notice things like I used to. So we basically need a get component hittable object. Yeah, so my hit point object equals that. So I probably should just, yeah, I'll optimize that at some point. Do I have access directly in there to the hit points? Hit points right here. Yes, good. Current hit points is equal to that much. All right, so if my current hit points is greater than the threshold, then output number is equal to 1. If my current hit points is equal to the threshold, then output number is equal to 2. And if my current hit points is less than threshold, then it's 3. Yeah, I could basically put them in else and make that an else without a condition. Yep. So yeah, so then if we're greater than the threshold, first output equal to the threshold, second output, otherwise the third output. So now we only bother doing that if we hit a threshold decision at the moment, because that's all that we've got implemented. But it's basically going to probably, well, for everything else, it'll just stick with output number 1. And then here, so basically, I'll pull that out into a variable. introduce a local glitch output. Or output ID. Or that's the input ID, but it's the ID of the input node. But it's the next node ID, isn't it? So let's call it that. Yeah, so I guess then if output number, actually, switch output number, it's going to be 1, 2, or 3. So if it's 1, next node ID is equal to next node output 1. Hang on a second, there's something we can do, isn't there? For C#. Can we make a switch expression so that we get an expression instead of a thing? We have the thingy and then switch. Okay. So I think we do output number switch. That's not how you spell switch, but oh well. Okay, so we should be able to now do it like that with patterns like 1 and this. And just put that as a comment. Comment, comma, as a comma. And I'll grab that bit because that's actually, now this thing is actually evaluating to a value instead of just running some different blocks. Okay, cool. So yeah, that is a good use case for this syntax, I think. And don't. I guess we'll grab a default case here and just grab output 1. Won't worry about having an error or anything. It'll just, it should always be 1, 2, or 3. But, yeah, so now we've got that ID. Now that it'll follow a different one depending on what's going on. So now we actually should have a working threshold decision node. And I can also see us collecting a lot of code in here. So, but also this needs optimizing, but life is too short to optimize that when I could just try and run it and see if we can get a working hit point decision happening. So let's use this factor at the top here. Let's have them do some stuff. So I need to grab my routine graph editor here. And I'll just select off and onto that. And now I mean hit points decision. Let's grab that, plug that in there. And now it's going to be doing nothing, but that's all right. Just put that there, and if we're low, block. Oh, gotta unplug that before I plug that in, otherwise I won't be able to properly. What's that? That's 25. Set that to as close to 50 as I can. If it's equal to 51, there we go. And when do we walk forward? Okay, so if it's got low hit points, it'll block and then walk forward. That should be fine. Okay, once just spawned. Let's take a look. What's it doing? Its hit points are high, so it's shooting. And it's just going to keep shooting. It's actually going to get probably collided with, and that might make it switch to block and walk forward. And the other one instantly started doing that because it had run into it. That seemed to be working. I really want to make the enemy sensor now because then I could make the basic routine of walk forward until you see an enemy. It's getting a bit late. I better not do that. That's a lot of hellos. 4 hellos from PsyCharacter. But all of them were in the recent past. Yeah, I guess my next thing to do in the next stream will be to get that enemy sensor working. So that'll require, well, I can get the enemy decision working even without the sensor. I'll just have it work despite, like, regardless whether the sensor is installed. Yeah, and then later on I can add the condition where it'll only work, but it'll malfunction if they don't have that sensor. Or, yeah, what will happen if you don't have a sensor and you try and have a decision node based on that sensor? Would that be a malfunction, or I guess maybe it would always just go to output 1. That might be sensible behavior. Or maybe output 0. It'll never sense an enemy because it doesn't have an enemy sensor. But yeah, that would make more sense. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm really tempted to get the enemy sensor working now. And I'm also tempted to make nested switch statements. I think this there's not particularly much of a difference between the threshold and simple decision. The only difference with these is that they don't use that threshold value. So I wonder if it's even worth having a separate block. But yeah, I think probably both of these blocks where it's figuring out the output number, I'll probably move that to a method that checks the output number. Yeah. Maybe I'll move that to a method right now. And get output. Get active output. For node. Okay, so that'll get, I don't need it to do here anymore. So the active output is the one that will be followed. Yeah, get the output number. That should be selected. based on the current conditions. Yeah. Sensor inputs, etc. And it doesn't need to be called next node, we can just call it node. And then I guess now we can actually, if we're setting an output number, then we just return 1. Oh, bye, Psychorrector. I will be finishing up soon. But thanks for coming. That break is now redundant. Yes, it has detected that it is. Basically, I guess if we haven't hit anything, we'll just return 1. And then we don't need this output number variable. Cool. So now we'll just do switch on node.signal type. And signal type.enemy. Yeah, that really is the only difference. Well, I can always combine them later. So basically, you want to like detect an enemy in the 4 squares of the robot. Could basically use raycast or a collider on an enemy sensor. Can I do 2D raycasts in Unity? I think so. Physics 2D raycast in the forward direction. So we need a origin, direction, distance. Optional layer mask. Minimum depth. Max depth. So I guess we want it to originate from transformed opposition, maybe. Direction. How does the direction work? It's a vector 2, but it represents a direction. So direction. It just says a vector representing the direction. Oh, right. Of course. So this should vary by It's like the forward direction, right, of the thing. Red axis of the transform in world space. So if we look here, if we go like this, we're talking about this red axis here. So yeah, that should give us what we want. Oh wait. Now that says the red axis in world space. Make sure the direction rotates with the bot. Because we might need to do like so local. Actually, where's the laser? If we do it's not the way to open that thing. How does a robot shoot a laser? Yeah, I'll just grab that laser script. So we've got the there's our robot parts, there's a laser gun, there's a laser gun script. Can even just read that here. Got a laser spawn point, which is a transform. And fire laser pulse. Instantiate. Laser prefab, laser spawn point position, transform to rotation. Oh, transform to rotation is a quaternion, isn't it? Oh, have a look. Yeah, that's a quaternion. And I guess that's because it's a 3D rotation. Anyway, we're talking about we'll need this layer mask name to layer, but I think it won't be enemy projectiles, it'll be enemies, but that's what will be sensed. So I'll just break that in there. Now, where was I? Yeah. All right. So I'll need this to get the layer, and that layer will be the layer that they get put on, the robots get put on when they're enemies. So we're looking for is enemy. Where's the? They must know that they're an enemy. Here is enemy. Yeah. Activate us with enemy So we spawn the robot. Oh, this is the robot spawner now. Okay, here. If it's an enemy, it gets put on enemy bots. So actually, I can just grab that whole one there. Alright, so that's the layer. Oops. It's supposed to be .ray cast. Okay, we've got a distance, which is going to be, I think I want like 4.5 units, because it should reach to the end of the layer. Okay, so now we've got enemy layer. That's our layer mask. Can we do multiple? And in factory, if their enemy, then on start, they probably want to get on the right layer. Or maybe I've already just set them to that layer manually. So I'll have a look at the enemy factories and see layer enemy factories. Yeah, just same as the bots, just replace it with factories. Okay. Now I need to figure out how to get both of those layers because it should detect, it should count both of those in the enemy sensor. Okay. Just having a quick look at how to do that. So it's just, let's call that enemy bot layer and call this one enemy factory layer. And then I want both, and I believe those are bits, so could I just OR them together? Apparently the bit shift operator. Yeah, combining layer masks. Yeah, they're just using bitwise or to combine them together. That makes sense to me. So basically just do that layer or this layer. Yeah. So each of these basically represents just having a single bit set in a binary number, and this just sets all of the bits for any of those that are set on any of those. So that's what I want. So that's different from the double pipe short circuiting OR that is frequently used. Yeah, so that might do a raycast. So we might have a hit. Oh, I guess we're just going to return 1 or 2, depending on whether we have a hit. If we have a hit, then it'll be 1. Otherwise, it'll be 2. And we don't need that. And also, I should need that. I also need to do like to do if there isn't an enemy sensor or the enemy sensor is broken, and just return 2. But 2 means no enemy detected. Yep. Okay, that may have made the enemy sensor work. Not very confident about that raycast hit, but I'll just let that finish doing its thing. Unity. And then let's see. Oh, gosh. And then I'm going to go to bed regardless whether it's working because it is late. All right, let's go with yep, this one. I need to kind of quickly build this up. I might just delete the enemies rather than try and really quickly get that working. Okay, so we've got this here. And I want to get an enemy-based decision. And just make it simple. Just if there's an enemy, walk forward. And if there's not, then don't. And I can just sit there doing nothing. Sorry, yeah, so shoot if you see an enemy, walk if you don't. So it must not be sensing the enemy there. Probably. Just wondering how I can quickly get this raycast hit working to test it. So what have we got? We got of thing should the hit be? Is a raycast hit 2D? Don't know. Not sure what I can do with that. 7 overloads. Show me the overloads. What do I do to see the overloads? Oh, I've hit the collider. So origin, direction, and so on. Distance and layer mask. I think I'll do one more little test. Even though I said I was going to bed. I'm really bad at telling the truth about that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll grab this factory. I'll grab an enemy detector node. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, shoot laser, don't block, don't walk forward, just turn right. Just turn right until you see an enemy. Because maybe I've got the angle wrong or something. Oh, they can't turn right, they haven't got the right kind of legs for that. Okay, I'll get rid of that too, so they go a bit faster. But oh, it's detected it. And then exploded, but hey, okay, I'll pause that a second. Now, this enemy here, delete it. Just so that we don't get our robot exploded too quickly. There, it's detecting it backwards, isn't it? Because it's firing when there's an enemy behind it. Does that mean... Well, that looks fixable then, because I think I can just change that to transform.left. Maybe I can just go negative. Transform.right. That's not negative. There we go. Negative transform.right. Yeah. I don't know why. random one needs to be left. And at this point, I don't care. If it works, it works. Okay. Alright, so quickly grabbing this, adding enemy sensor, and shooting the laser. And otherwise, walking forward. There we go, that should do, and we'll give it the blueprint. Just give it a couple of lasers instead. Just going to cheat a little bit here. Come on, robot. Why aren't you getting selected? Pop that onto 2D mode. Okay, yeah, so that robot deleted. This robot. Yeah, that's you. Good, gone. And that'll do. Let's see what happens. So it's firing. Still firing, even though it's that far away. Now that should be 1, 2, 3, 4.5. It should be sensing to here. But it seems like it might be sensing further than that. That's because I said 4.5 units. Okay, let's just select this robot then. And let's see what its deal is. So its scale is 1. It has no rotation. We've got the robot script on there, so that's where that's coming from. And its position is about -9. Alright, so it's firing there. What if I grab this one and delete it as well? Okay, yeah. Make sure that's going to be the whole robot. Okay, so we unpause. Yeah, it still seems to be casting that ray, despite having a 4.5 range. It's so close. It feels like it's so close. So origin, direction, distance. It doesn't seem to be respecting the distance. So I'm just reading the docs here. Casts array against colliders in the scene. Array cast especially like a laser beam, blah blah blah. Returns a raycast hit to the object with a reference to the collider that is hit by the ray. The collider property of the result will be null if nothing was hit. So hit.collider not equal to null should be working there. The layer mask can be used to detect objects selectively, only on certain layers. To enemy characters, for example. Now I might have the layer mask backwards or something. Overloads of this method that use contact filter. Filter results by that. additionally, this will also detect colliders at the start of the ray. In this case, the ray starts inside the collider and doesn't intersect the collider's surface. This means that collision normal cannot be calculated, in which case the return collision normal is set to inverse blah blah blah. They're always at raycast hit TD fraction of 0. Raycast hit TD fraction, hey? It's line cast. This differs from the similar raycast in that raycasting specifies the line using an origin and direction. Oh, how do you specify this? A start and end. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. So rigid body above the surface. Raycast hit 2D, hit equals the position vector negative up. Distance. Well, I could probably do this distance thing. Hit dot point dot y, transport dot position dot y. Oh yeah, so hit dot point will give me where it was actually hit. So that could be really useful to know. Detected enemy at hit dot point. So if hit dot collider is not equal to null and hit dot point. Wait, what do I want to grab here? I want the distance between 2 points. So what's that point? It's a vector 2. So it's a vector. That's it. Vector 2, vector 3. Let's just treat that as a vector 2. And then we'll get our next square magnitude. So the distance, the square of the distance is within 12.5 squared. Don't want to make the poor CPU do division, do we? Okay, so if it's within a certain distance, basically, oh yeah, didn't actually detect an enemy yet. There we go. Now I know I did. Okay, so we'll definitely return 2 if we didn't get a hit. And then in here, basically, I'm just going to move some of these things out of here into other places. So let's extract that to local. And this is the offset of the hit. So I'll call it hit offset. And then grab all that stuff. I just want to see this. There. Offset. Use floating points. I mean, we'll use floats instead of double precision floats. There we are. And okay, so we're going to call this a square magnitude threshold. And output that. And square magnitude, it's just this. And we'll store it in variable anyway. Because who cares? And just to get everything laid out. So yeah, we don't need that. And I'll actually also put in range, and that is when square magnitude is less than the square magnitude threshold. That's in range. Now hit.collider not equal to null. We've already checked that up here, so we don't need to check it there. If we're in range, then we return 1, otherwise we return 2. In range, there we go. So that should give all the info about that. All right, this time for sure. Last try. Okay. Running this. Okay, get my routine set up. Laser, don't block, just walk. There, it's technically set up. Okay, this one I don't think it's got the routine. All right, what routine have you got? Oops. There. Just like that. This next one should have it set up properly like that. I've got to do some enemy wrangling here, don't I? Alright, just delete this guy here. Probably that one there as well, just to give this time to spawn. Alright, so we're detecting the enemy even though it's way over there. What is the deal with that? Console. Alright. So here we go. Detected enemy at negative 1.5, 7. That doesn't seem right. Who is at that square? What? That's 7. Zero. Hang on. Friendly factories is at negative 1. So negative 1.5 is right there. Let's have a look at the robots. Robot spawner is at 0, 0. And that's where all these robots live. So I don't know who this is detecting. So this is really weird. An X of negative 1.5 really seems like it's back here. Oh. So is it just hitting that thing? It's just on default layer. Is the mask what it will hit or what it won't hit? I think I can just output the name of what it's hit, right? There. Maybe not enemy. Maybe something else. Oh man, I've set up way too late. I should have basically been doing this in the next stream. Oh well. Okay, got a routine here. It's definitely detecting something because it's going pew 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 pew. So, what did you detect? Tell me all about it. Detected a wall 8. Yep, it's detecting wall 8. Is this wall 8? Yes, it is. And I wouldn't be surprised if wall 8 is directly to the left. So I think I actually want to use the right. And these layer masks. Like, I just want to know what's the deal there. So when I do layer mask, filter to detect collisions only in certain layers. Yeah, layer mask. Specifies layers to be used in a physics raycast. Okay. Bit masks represent 32 layers and define them as true or false. Each bit mask describes whether the layer is used. As an example, bit 5 can be set to 1, true. This allows use of built-in water setting. Okay, so we can edit those, yes. Alright, so 3 game objects represent walls that can be hit by the fired ray. Each game object has game object.label set to the wall layer mask. Okay, so this is a case where wall layer mask is relevant. So where's the raycast happening? Here. Layer mask.get mask that. And I've got what have I done here? Comment. Got that. Name to layer. So you do layer mask.get mask. So I could make it just do enemy bots with layer mask.get mask. Note layer mask is a bit mask. Use layer mask.get mask and layer mask.layer to name to generate the bit mask. Layer to name is the opposite, isn't it? The inverse of name to layer. Given a set of layer names. No mask for all of them. So I think get mask. Oh, okay, I can just take multiple. Cool. Well, let's do that then. Enemies layer, enemy layers. Grab enemy bots and enemy factories. Yeah, it should have occurred to me that it was weird that there wouldn't be something like this. Let's see if that works better than my hand combined things. Can I now comment those out? Because I was letting go of control. Okay, so I could also pop the enemy layers into here. There we go. I said I would have been in bed by now, didn't I? Don't like walking away from a not finished problem, but I really shouldn't sacrifice sleep over it. Shouldn't and do. Just get everything ready there. I could make this the default. Oh, wait, were they working? Were they doing their job? One of them wasn't doing the right thing, I think. Okay, that one's firing. Yes, yes, good job firing. Blew it up. Walked forward. And now they go forward. Ah, the problem is they might hit each other, but that just means they need proximity sensors. They're missing proximity sensors, but they're doing their job. So, yeah, the proximity sensor will basically detect anything directly in front. Basically, it's if I take a step, will I hit something? That's what the proximity sensor will tell you. So if there's a wall there, factory, a bot, a friendly bot, anything hittable. That seems to be working though. That's cool. Without the proximity sensor, they just walk straight into each other. But there we go. And they just collided on top of the factory. But until this one comes and runs into them, they're going to be doing great. Yeah, that's actually really effective. If they had proximity sensors to stop them running into each other, then that would be really good. Cool. It works. So I guess next stream I can start actually making those sensors. Sweet. Okay. I have to sleep. I really must sleep. So I stayed up way too late getting stuff working. And yeah, I shouldn't even spend any time figuring out this stuff. But they follow it. And I have implemented that. And I got the enemy decision node working. That's what I haven't done. Just limit to only if the enemy has the sensor. There. Sweet. So I'll move that out of here. They do follow it now. And add the enemy sensor. Support branching routine, I've done. But that has some sensors. So awesome. That's going to be next. Well, thank you for watching. I have been me, David from Fatal Pixel, and I have been not sleeping, but I should have been. So I'm going to. Yeah, I will. I guess after the next stream, I'm going to get a build out with that because I will hopefully have all of the different types of nodes that are available. That are available in that button working. In that button, all the types of nodes that have buttons to add them on the editor. If I don't get them all done, I can just disable a few of those buttons. And yeah, this is getting there. Finally, it's been a long road, mainly because I don't get that much time to build this. Much more time for like a full-time job than just streaming on weekends. So, if you're rich and you want to sponsor me to just do this full-time, I would be more than happy to accept your sponsorship. As long as it doesn't have too much evil attached to it. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm off. Bye for now. Have a great time. Make some games. Come back next time in about 2 days. And I will continue with that. A tired good night to all.